Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. Today, we're going to be talking about, well, the deep state, the intel community, and what are perceived threats, really against all Americans by that weaponized intelligence community, as well as the deep state, specifically the Department of Justice, the FBI, the surveillance state. We're going to be talking with Russ TICE. Russ is a former senior intelligence analyst with the National Security Agency. He has an immense amount of experience, a remarkable American. He is also a whistleblower, one of the very first to talk about publicly the National Security Agency and other intel agencies spying on American citizens. About 20 years ago, he first blew the whistle on that, and we've seen all that's happened to date, and it is a frightening picture indeed that we're contemplating, particularly with the reauthorization coming next week for Section 702, the FISA law that will permit further spying, further surveillance by the deep state on American citizens. There doesn't seem to be an appetite to fight it in Congress, in either party. The Republicans, I'm disappointed to say, I don't think are going to mount a challenge to that reauthorization or any attempt at reforming it. We're also going to be talking about Congressman Mike Gallagher. He is the former chairman of the Select Committee on the CCP. He just resigned his job as congressman and is waiting to get past the deadline to prevent a special election in Wisconsin for his district, thereby probably cutting the Republican majority down to a one vote margin. Doing it for what reason? But surely for spite, and surely out of just pure hate for the party that he was supposed to be a member of, and also, by the way, for the district that he was representing. The man is completely disgusting, appalling, and not behaving in any way that makes any sense whatsoever, and except for the mere fact that he is a cretin and a creep, and he's what we had. It's the chair of one of the most important committees in Congress. He did, by the way, absolutely nothing as chair of that committee. He was derelict, he was negligent, he was indolent, and now he is just simply spiteful. We're also going to take up the AI intel that emanates from the National Security Agency, DARPA, and which has been applied now across so many of the systems that many people aren't even aware of how significant the U.S. lead is in artificial intelligence. But we're going to be taking all of that up with Russ TICE. And joining us now is Russ TICE. And Russ, always great to see you. Thanks for being with us, my friend. A lot coming at us in a hurry. We're going to have the reauthorization next week, as you know, of the Section 702 of the FISA legislation. Speaker Mike Johnson has already given the FBI, despite its weaponization against the American people, a $200 million new building that will be bigger than the Pentagon. Do you think there's any more we could do for the intelligence agencies that are aligned against the American people?
Well, I mean, maybe we could just add in some, taxpayer vacations or something for them for such their good work for making sure that we're all being surveilled so well.
Well, it's really where we are, isn't it? And we're looking at now a number of alliances. The NSA combining with the so-called Cyber Command to make sure that the elections are all going as they should, whatever that will happen to mean in this particular election. Congress, as I said, renewing Section 702, the FISA authorization. What are your thoughts? So let's start with FISA. Should it be reauthorized, and what would we lose in the way of national security? Would there be a diminishment of national security if we were to strip FISA from the law?
Well, my answer would be I don't think so. As long as you could make sure under the regular system that we have a warrant and make sure that warrant is not known to the person that you're going to search for a period of time. I don't see why we can't use our constitutional means for the judiciary to put forth a warrant when you have, under the Fourth Amendment, probable cause to look at someone in the suspicion that they're committing espionage with a foreign nation.
Mm-hmm. Right now, it's being used primarily for political purposes. The surveillance by whether it's the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, all of it is being conducted against the American people. The principal outcome here over the past, since 2015, has been the surveillance by the intelligence community of the Trump campaign, the Trump presidency, post Trump presidency. It's outrageous. Conservatives are absolutely being censored and surveilled at every step of the way. We even have FBI agents going door to door to talk about what somebody's posted on social media. Russ, this country's gone nuts.
Well, not only that, there's a thing called parallel construction. What's happening is if they want to come after Lou Dobbs for whatever reason, just like the Barra said, give me the man and I'll give you a reason to call him a traitor. That they'll go back into your communications and try to find something that you've done in the past 15 years. And then they'll give that to the FBI, and then they go back and then they try to find some other means to prove that, other than the fact that they illegally and unconstitutionally dug into your communications over so many years and then throw something at you in that manner. Of course, that will never come up in a court of law. Yeah,
and since you put me at the center of that that scenario, thank you very much, Russ. The fact of the matter is, I'm kind of an ornery cuss. There's not much I've said that I don't stand 100% behind. Now, I may have used some language that I would like to, as my wife says, I shouldn't call names, and I sometimes use language that is a little rough. But the truth of the matter is, I say exactly what I mean, and I mean what I say. And I have never gotten out of that habit. So I'm in real trouble, Russ, because I'm actually saying exactly what I think. I'm not playing games. I'm not triangulating. I'm not trying to equivocate or posture. I'm saying precisely what I think. And I think every American might try it because it's a liberating experience.
Well, due to the wonders of artificial intelligence, we could take your speech.
No, I know that. I look. You can edit me. Go put us all through some deep fakes nonsense. I understand that, but I'm talking about that which is you and me as human beings, citizens of this great country. We can't be afraid to say what we mean. And it's time for people to speak up. And I'm talking about, first and foremost, our elected officials who seem to be quivering in their wingtip shoes or whatever they're wearing, rather than really serving the American people. I can't tell you how disgusting this is to me to watch what the Republican Party has become, to see what these Marxist Dems are doing, and with them the deep state. They're serving so many masters in the Democrat Party. It's hard to figure out exactly what the pecking order is, isn't it?
Well, I think once again we're starting to see, especially this congressman up here in Wisconsin, Galloway, I think's his name.
Gallagher's the man.
Gallagher. Why on earth would he be doing what he's doing right now? This is the classic scenario where I think someone has dirt on him, and they want to make sure that the Republicans no longer have that majority because Congressman Jordan and a couple of the other chairmen are digging to the point where they're about to get the goods on President Biden, especially when it comes to these phony ID. I mean the email addresses,
aliases. Yeah.
Aliases. So. I think once we find, and of course, what Archives is balking, every which way they can to make sure they don't give that up. I think once we find those out, we will. I mean, not only will we have a smoking gun on the president, we'll have a smoking howitzer on the president. There will be no question. And I think they're getting so close that they have to start using some strong arm tactics. So with this congressman, I have a feeling they have dirt on him, and I think they're also offering him some carrot where he's gonna get out making millions of dollars for some kind of consultancy or something of that nature.
Yeah. He is a weasel, and he is a highly objectionable human being. And we're going to take up Mike Gallagher with Russ Tice, former senior intelligence analyst for the NSA. We're coming right back right after these quick words. Stay with us, please.
Folks, did you know that over 90% of the pharmaceuticals in America are not made here? We saw during the China virus pandemic what happens when we are dependent on other countries like China and India for our most critical pharma needs. Recent clusters of respiratory illness have been popping up around the world, and in the United States, it's dominating the headlines. It's also shedding light on the need to be prepared for an unexpected medical emergency. Will you have what your family needs when the next crisis hits? Our good friends Dr. Peter McCullough and Dr. Drew Pinsky over at The Wellness Company have just what you need with The Wellness Company's medical emergency kits. These kits include 8 life-saving medications with drugs like amoxicillin, Z-Pak, and ivermectin, for you to keep on hand along with the guidebook for safe use. From tick bites to COVID to extreme bioterror events, every scenario is covered. Go to twc.health/Dobbs and grab your medical emergency kit right now. Don't wait until you need it. Take control of your health today with the Wellness Company's medical emergency kits.
We're back now. We're talking with Russ Tice. And Russ, great to have you with us again. It's been too long since we talked. So much is happening. And you were talking about Mike Gallagher, the congressman who resigned in just an implosion. It looks like a meltdown on his part. Here he was, the chairman of the CCP Select Committee, responsible for carrying out policy against the country's number one enemy, that is the People's Republic of China, the CCP. And he's bailing out. He did nothing while he was chairman of that committee. He was intimidated. He was overwhelmed. You pick the verb, but the reality is he was an absolute nothing. And has amounted to nothing. And now he is betraying his party as well as the country. Your thoughts?
Like I said, there has to be an influence that's causing this to happen. Otherwise, why wouldn't he just, if he had to get out for some sort of medical or family reason, he could get out and allow an interim election to put someone in his spot so that we're not, just down to a one-person limit on a majority for the House. So either he's just got to, I don't know whether it's because of the replacing the former speaker or something, but he's either got to burn his bonnet or something else is influencing what he's doing right now. That's the only thing I can see. You
think he's being blackmailed, intimidated?
I think, yes, he's being blackmailed, and he's also being offered a carrot at the other end of that but ultimately blackmail is, I think, what's happening here.
Isn't it interesting too that he is a former defense intelligence officer in the Marine Corps, as it turns out. He's aligned with the intelligence community again. He's a little boy Brennan running around trying to play with the big boys, and it's really awful to watch it unfold, because the intelligence community is really running the government right now, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's the upper echelon of the intelligence community. Excuse me. It's ultimately the lifeblood of the deep state. And what they say goes. And if they have an agenda, they're going to push it. Now, I don't know this fella from my own. I knew a lot of guys that were intel for the Marine Corps, but I have a feeling that I'm a bit more senior than he is. So I may not have known him back in the day, but he was the captain in the Marine Corps and Marine Corps intelligence. Well, intelligence has many different phases. There's signals intelligence, which was my main thing was satellites, and there's also just the ground guys that are basically soaking up intelligence so that their troops know what to look out for, like reports that we would send them and say, hey, you got something coming up on you, that sort of thing. Right. So I don't know exactly what he was doing, but the fact that he was intel means he's in the community. And he may know some of the right people like Brennan and Hayden and Alexander and some of the other nefarious folks that were on the 51 letter list.
The intelligence agencies are a cult unto themselves. There's no question about it. The military intelligence people, and again, Gallagher, the CIA has a hand in every one of these cover-ups. They are, as we've learned watching Bill Barr, who was spent 7 years in the CIA, he was the stopper, the closer. On everything that could be considered an embarrassment or a problem for the intelligence community. He did that for 7 years before he went to work for the H.W. Bush in the White House to be his stopper. And on his career went. But we're watching right now an intelligence community that's aligned against one political party, and that is the Republican Party. And they mean to stop this and to pursue whatever aims the Marxist Dems come up with, whether it's transgenderism, whether it is destroying the American family, whether it's destroying public education in this country, whether it's destroying meritocracy and asserting diversity, for crying out loud. Diversity is our strength. They keep propagandizing. Our strength is our intelligence, our talent, our character, and our capacity as citizens of this country. And we've got people running propaganda at us, 24 hours a day, whether it's from the CIA itself, whether it's from whatever agency or part of the military-industrial complex. It's awful, and it's suffocating, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Even back when I know of one case where the whole floor at DIA didn't have a female on it, so they promoted someone to a 14 who met none of the qualifications for the job. And matter of fact, she was an accountant, and she got the job, I think, because they wanted a female on the floor that was at the 14 level, a GS 14, which is a government right. salary level. But right. It's so we had. And she was a very nice person, and I'm sure she was a very good accountant, but now she's got to make technical intelligence decisions, right. and she's an accountant. So
did they let her do that? I mean, did they actually let her make decisions on intel?
Her position would actually require that she would make certain. She would have to review certain documents and have to sign off on them to say, okay, we can go ahead with this or we don't. And she was not even close to being qualified. Well, it's a very nice person, but not even close to being qualified. So even back then, now I'm sure it's a whole lot different now. Now we've got to have all different rainbow colors and all different kinds of, people, I don't know, with tutus sitting, dancing around while they're reviewing their intel documents or something. Who knows?
Well, how smart would you say most intelligence analysts are? Are they, would you say, very bright, smart? Where would you say they were in terms of intel and talent?
In my day, very bright. Matter of fact, especially once you move you almost have to prove yourself as an intelligence analyst. If you get everything wrong as a junior analyst, they kind of move you away into something else. But
so brain power actually does matter still in the intelligence community.
Well, it certainly used to. And there's all kinds of courses you take. You take courses on analytical thinking, on all different types of thought trains on how you take intelligence and you'd rule something out, and basically you learn how to think as well as an intelligence analyst.
The smarter you are, the better you did.
That's normally how it works. And quite often, as an intelligence analyst, it's like a puzzle. You get a puzzle, but think about it. You only have like 10% of the pieces of the puzzle, or maybe 12% of what you think is a puzzle. 2% have been pieces thrown in there to throw you off the trail, right. and with that, you have to put it together and try to figure out what's going on.
So it'd be really interesting to go into the intelligence agencies and just see how much of their hiring is based on diversity, equity, and inclusion rather than intelligence and capacity and talent. I'm hoping that at least in that area, we had some holdouts from the nonsense that diversity is our strength. We're talking with Russ Tice. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Folks, did you know that over 90% of the pharmaceuticals in America are not made here? We saw during the China virus pandemic what happens when we are dependent on other countries like China and India for our most critical pharma needs. Recent clusters of respiratory illness have been popping up around the world, and in the United States, it's dominating the headlines. It's also shedding light on the need to be prepared for an unexpected medical emergency. Will you have what your family needs when the next crisis hits? Our good friends Dr. Peter McCullough and Dr. Drew Pinsky over at The Wellness Company have just what you need with The Wellness Company's medical emergency kits. These kits include 8 life-saving medications with drugs like amoxicillin, Z-Pak, and ivermectin for you to keep on hand, along with a guidebook for safe use. From tick bites to COVID to extreme bioterror events, every scenario is covered. Go to twc.health/Dobbs and grab your medical emergency kit right now. Don't wait until you need it. Take control of your health today with the Wellness Company's medical emergency kits.
We're back. We're talking with Russ Tice now, and the NSA is warning that our enemies are free to mine private data all of the time, and that they have now an artificial intelligence edge. Now, what's interesting about that story from NSA is I was just reading article after article here over the last few weeks about how the United States in generative AI has a significant lead over for example, the Chinese. And there's no other principal competitor outside of Russia. So what is the NSA selling here?
Oh, that's a good question. It sounds to me like they're selling propaganda. Interesting thing about NSA and some of the other intelligence services is we've been doing this sort of thing for well over 30 years, and a lot of it has come from DARPA to NSA, or a combination thereof, NSA and DARPA, to bring these technologies to bear in the intelligence community, and later on they follow into the.
You're talking about AI, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Then later on they follow into when there's a commercial way to make money from these systems, then ultimately that's what happens. The same thing with voice recognition. The little thing you can buy. You can go to most any country. Matter of fact, I'll be in Italy in a couple of months, and you get this little thing and you talk into it, and it converts my English into Italian, and I can say, hey, where's the Colosseum? That technology came from the intelligence community.
And that technology has been in Silicon Valley for 40 years. People don't believe that; they can't imagine it. But amongst the leaders at one point was even Apple. Was one of the leaders in voice recognition. It's extraordinary how important DARPA is. There was we were mentioning the defense intelligence area, a data mining and collection system that was put together called Able Danger that was running, 30, 40 years ago. And who knows where we stand in the global competition, but you can bet that DARPA, I think it's a safe bet, I'd like to get your opinion, is well ahead of anywhere that most people suspect right now.
We always underestimate our own capabilities and tend to overestimate a potential enemy's capabilities. We used to have these reports from the Soviet Union about all their advanced weaponry that they had. If you know anything about the MiG-25 Foxbat, that was supposed to be the super fighter that could do anything, and we found out it was basically just an interceptor that could just get up to altitude, shoot a missile, and have to come right back down before it ran out of fuel. And it was made out of steel, of all things, So,
but it was fancy looking,
and it had some huge engines on it. So and it looked cool, yeah. So and then of course that was the big thing to make sure that the intelligence community was getting heaps of money to build a new weapon systems to counter that.
Well, so here we are. we're going into FISA reauthorization. We know that we're going to see the NSA working with, you know, with the Cyber Command on of all things truth, justice, and the American way, and to assure the integrity of our electoral system. I'm scared to death, in other words, of what's going on here because they're keeping it a secret from oversight committees. They're not explaining what they're doing precisely or even remotely. And NSA makes another statement. My gosh, you know, not only are all these threats going on, and we've got hypersonic missiles, of course, which we're told that the Chinese and the Russians, and by the way, I have no reason not to believe these claims that both Russia and China have leads in the hypersonic missiles, despite the fact that, by the way, speaking of DARPA, going back to 2000, we had the world's only hypersonic missile program and just dropped it because we didn't think it would be necessary. But now the NSA is talking about a black swan event in quantum computing. Make of that what you will for us.
I don't know a whole lot about quantum computing. I know that it supposedly can run an ungodly amount of data in a millisecond. And I think it leads, the computers need nitrogen just to cool their circuits down.
But for NSA to be saying they're afraid of a black swan event. Now, it's an interesting concept, black swan events, which are unpredictable, unforeseen, and simply beyond comprehension events that could have happened or could not happen. And no one knows even the shape, the dimension of the event itself. And yet here they are predicting it, which leaves you kind of scratching your head. What are they really afraid of here?
Well, I mean, you can use computers to analyze operational systems to look for weaknesses.
Sure.
Perhaps that's what they're talking about here. To be honest, I'd be more worried about the Chinese that are coming across the border that are probably saboteurs and spies, aside from all the other nefarious types that are coming across our southern border. And how many of those are also involved in cyber attacks as well? But I'm not quite sure what NSA is talking about when they're talking about this. But computing, is something you need for analysis of systems. Now I know I was involved in some programs that you mentioned, the making sure that Congress has the ability to look into these things. That some of these the SAP programs I was in, we had three of them that I was in. They were called ghost programs, but no one in Congress, no one even knew about them, that they existed. Some are called acknowledged. There's three categories: acknowledged, unacknowledged, and then what we call ghost programs that Congress does not know a thing about.
All right. Well, and it's interesting because right now we have over 100,000 Americans being killed by fentanyl overdoses. Our 2,000-mile border is wide open. We now find out the Canadian border is wide open as well, and that Chinese nationals are crossing that almost at will. We have no interior enforcement. We have an estimated as high as almost 15 million illegal immigrants brought into this country, illegal aliens brought into this country just since Joe Biden took office. And no one knows where they are, what they're doing, but we know we're spending a lot of taxpayer money on them. And it looks like for only one reason, and that's to make sure that those voting rolls in this year's election are going to have a lot of new names on them. Russ, we appreciate it as always. Give us a wrap-up thought here on where we stand today in terms of the intel community and the country's future.
Well, it's to me like the intelligence community has been totally compromised, and now it's a political leverage point. I'm not sure when the inflection point happened here, but everything now apparently, well, a lot of it's the existence, because I think they fear there's a guy coming into the White House that's going to turn things upside down, and this is an existential threat that they're looking at. So they're going to call out they're going to pull all the stops, and it's going to be, I think, pretty ugly in the next 7 or 8 months here before November, and even after that, for Lord forbid.
That may be when the real mess starts.
Yeah, because the Intel community is no longer what it used to be, where it was basically designed to just tell the policymakers what's going on, and then they're done. Now the Intel community is running the show.
And Russ Tice, former senior Intel analyst for the National Security Agency and whistleblower, great American. Russ, thanks for being with us. As always, look forward to talking with you soon. God bless and take care. See you next time. And folks, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. We appreciate it, everybody. And we'll talk, how about tomorrow?